Good morning. It's Tuesday morning because it's been bank holiday, another bank holiday. People have got to work. Yeah, it's also another strike day. There was a strike day last week, there's one this week, so I've got a little helper with me. How you doing now? You can say hello?
Hi.
What you got to say for yourself? How much of a help are you going to be today?
None.
Promising already. It's a good attitude, isn't it? Good way to start the day, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit more. I think I'm going to be an amazing help, Dad. You got that in you? Go on, you're going to really go for it today. You really push it. Got some holes to dig?
No.
No, you can just do some. You can screw some timber together for me if you want. Basically you can do your homework or you can help me. What do you want to do?
It depends what's going on longer because I want to chill for a bit as well.
Whatever's going on longer, wants to chill for a bit. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, a little bit different this week. Again, actually, yeah, basically, so all my jobs have been accepted. But so I'm going to be really busy coming out of the workshop now. But what I need to do before I do that is just tick off some jobs, people that have sort of been chasing me, and one of them's my mother. So I'm going to go around hers this week and just do some decking so she can, because it is starting to get a bit warmer, hence the shades. Yeah, so she can enjoy her garden basically a little bit more. Whether or not my mum will want to be on the camera or not, I don't know, but I will film what I'm doing this week. Here we go!
No.
What did you just say? What did you just say to me?
He's being cringe.
Hit you hard, didn't it? That, how cringy I was then. Did that hit you hard? That's what you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hit hard. Matt hits hard. Look at the state of the timber. And that is the worst bit. I'm not gonna lie, that is the worst bit, but it's just fought me. It's all different sizes as well. So I've had to chop in the joist hangers, chop into where it sits inside the joist hangers. Yeah, didn't really go into any detail, but for anyone, I don't really do decking, it's not really my thing, but what I've done is I've spaced this ledger off the wall and I've chamfered it behind the sill. These will get changed at some point. So what I've done is I've spaced it off and put another joist in, so when they get changed, when all this gets taken out, we can run the skill saw along there and just put a board in going that way, because the rest of the decking is going to go that way. But for now, I'll just scribe around it. It just means that when we cut it out later, there's a half joist for the decking. You can see I use joist hangers, just little mini ones, and I'll use these to come through from the back as well. Sometimes I'll use the odd wood screw as well, just to, you know, get yourself going. But as long as you get enough exterior screws in, you're all right. But yeah, it's just not straight. And then it's a decent patio under there, so I'll chock up off that. And then what I do is I use something like this. I've done it a couple of times. Like I say, I don't do a lot of decking, but I have done a few. I went back to one that I've done. In fact, that job I was at last week, I did their decking, composite, same stuff. Yeah, and put those underneath the chocks, just so your chock blocks don't ever sit in water. Obviously, we've got the Turan down as well for weed. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pack all my stuff up, because I've just got stuff everywhere. It rained on and off as well, so I had to keep stopping and starting. I didn't actually get going until about 12 by the time I got all the materials and sorted my little lad out and stuff. So what I'm going to do now doing is I'm going to measure and make, or write down, draw it out on a bit of paper. I'm going to make these as little infills to go round in between those two bushes. There's no point in trying to, it's just nice to cut all these joists the same size. Yeah, so make little infills for there. I also lost a bit of time because I've got to leave an access panel in there, so I was going to do the joist to there, and also I had to, you see this drain pipe is off the wall with some copper spacers because the prefabricated inlet is further from the wall. That one wasn't. It's too tight to the wall to get a ledger behind, so I had to dig down there this morning and basically hoik the drain pipe over, which wasn't easy because I had to you're not going to hoik a drain pipe, are you? I had to basically multi-tool it out and shorten it by 50 mil. It was about 2 foot down. Anyway, yeah, so I know, and then also, yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of curve work just to make it look interesting. Obviously the joist won't be curved. Well, I'll probably use that joist, couldn't I? But anyway, yeah, and then we're going to come across here, and then we're going to come back across here at 45. So basically, because the lawn's a bit higher than the patio, there won't be much of a step down if I cut across the lawn, and then it will just leave the 150 mil step here on a smaller piece. Yeah, so obviously I've got to run a row of noggins in here to take the whip out of these joists, just firm them up a little bit. I'll tell you what I do. I lay a bit of timber across the top, same as when you're doing truss roofing, and nail that down at the right centres to keep them in the right place. I deck half of it, and then I lose the noggin under a full length of decking, because if you don't, you see the noggin in the gap. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's fucking genius. It's not really that genius. It's like, done probably 3 decking jobs and 2 of them I've not thought of it. Right, anyway, see you in the morning. Morning, Wednesday. Yeah, I'm just in my, this will look alright, don't they? Just in my wife's shop this morning. Oh, got lights. Yeah, because she had a parcel. So my wife's got a coronation. Wife's got a bridal shop. She's got 2 actually, her and her business partner. But yeah, I made all the stuff for in here. So I made these doors, actually on my Instagram. But I don't put enough on there. I made this dressing room with the lights. Don't know the light switch. Oh, here's the light switch. Yeah, oh, got a feature light, and I forgot about that as well. It's been so long since I've been in here. But yeah, made this as well out of an old door. Oh, that was a table that I made for the first shop, which this is the second shop they moved to, and then they've opened a new shop, so they've got 2 premises at the moment. But yeah, this was the end of a table. But it did go on here on this runway, but they decided it was too big, so I came up with the idea of cutting it down and putting it to the wall. Oh, and I made this. I did a bit of work here, turning this into a little office, like a booth, and then we thought, oh, it looked quite nice if I put a handmade door in, handmade frame. So this is just out of some really old sort of freebie 8-inch timber out. Yeah, and then I actually extended the frames because the timber I had wasn't long enough, so I put this sort of like, it's like a scarf joint. I can't remember how it goes. You can't even see the diagonal line now. Where is it? Oh, the diagonal line goes through the frame, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. So it's like a scarf joint going that way, and I chopped in that big block of wood and put a bit of metal banding around it. Yeah, you can see the diagonal up there. Yeah, and this is the office. But I'm also, that's the other thing, probably can't show you the office, yeah, but this is they've got a light out, which apparently has been out for ages, and they've just not chased me up on it, but it's just a light bulb, that's all I need to do. Yes, I need to document that, take a picture of the light bulb, which will now forever be on the world of camera online. Yeah, just thought I'd show you really, because it's part of my day. Yeah, and yeah, the only reason they actually had to get up early, the only reason I had to come here is because they had a parcel delivered here the other day that was actually the wrong item. It was for a different shop, it was for someone else basically. And now no one can move it to get it back to where it's got to go. But yeah, it looks nice, doesn't it? So I've just come in really, this is Rockabilly Rose, I think, is who made that. I might be wrong. Fucking outstanding. But yeah. Oh, and I made that as well. I forgot I made that little corner door thing. Yeah, I think it looks nice. It looks really nice when you have the doors shut and you have the lights. You can get loads of... I think I've got a photo of that on my Instagram, actually, from when I did it. I don't put enough stuff on Instagram. I basically stopped putting work on Instagram because I just kept getting inquiries and I can't really keep up with the demand. And it was also in the process of me setting up a new workshop. There's nothing I could do. I can't do it all, you know. And I just thought, just lay off it. The thing with Instagram is you get so heavily into it and you feel like all of a sudden you have to post all the time to be competitive, because not competitive, but all the people doing similar things are constantly uploading amazing footage as well. It can either become a bit depressing because you're like constantly thinking, oh, my work's got to look like this, it's got to look like that. Whereas really they're just putting glossy images up. It's not the real day-to-day stuff, which is why I started doing this actually. I just thought I haven't really got the time to keep on top of my quotes as it is. So the last thing I need to do is advertise more. This is quite fun because it's like talking, it's like I've just brought a friend in, haven't I? I mean, it's like I've just brought someone in to do it with me. Did I lock the door? Better go check. Yeah, so this used to be my old workshop. This building here. It's a lovely building actually. Yeah. And then they've put in a Quest business there for doing up camper vans, which actually I had the idea of doing a long time ago. I don't know if I ever told you, but I was going to do that in that same building, but someone else has come along and done it. So obviously it was a good idea. Unless of course it's not making any money. Yeah, sorry. They're doing all this up now. Drummond aggregates. The wood, don't know what that is. Wellness. Yeah, doing loads to all that back there now. Building work everywhere. And there's all industrial units around here. There's a cafe next to me as well. I used to get a bit of footfall. Do you know what? The bloke that owns all this, what an absolute legend. It's in the family. He's the farmer that runs it. Honestly, I'll miss him as well. I used to talk to him all the time. I loved him to bits. He was so individual. But I outgrew it. Best thing about working at your mum's is you get lunch, don't you? But she's not in, so I had to cook it myself. But yeah, it's amazing actually how many customers offer you if you want like something cooking, or just even if they want a sandwich. Customers always offer, but they just never take it. Just always feel a bit uncomfortable. Yeah, when you're around your mum's, you can just go through the cupboard. She's always got loads of food. Right. So I've dug these holes out here. Then dug through. I can't get one over there. I just can't get in to dig. And that slab's going to be in there forever, so I'll prop up off that. And then what I do is I just screw offcuts on top of my joists. So when I drop them in, I've done it on those ones over there. So I pre-made these. I put these offcuts on the top, yeah, just drop them down. Then that means I haven't got to hold it when you're working alone. It's just easier. To be honest with you, working with two of you, it's easier. Not really a quick tip, it's quite obvious really, but I've got to point it out. Morning, Thursday. Dropped the van off for a service. I woke up late, so I've got to try and get to kitchen as quick as I can now. Yeah, so that's how much film I'm going to do because I'm really late. I've got to meet a delivery. Yeah, so this might be. I haven't got a lot to do today, but I've got a lot to sort, so it's not really going to be worth filming. We'll see how it goes though. Yeah, next week I promise it's going to be a lot better, because I should technically, I think I'm going to go down to London and start measuring for this kitchen, or I might just tackle a little bedroom furniture job I've got as well. Oh, that's a big van. Okay, now what's in a bit. The decking has actually been delivered. That's the result. I didn't think they'd unload it without me, so I've not missed that. I have still got to take it around the back. That'll probably take about an hour, because it's just awkward getting around the back. And then, yeah, the other thing is the decking clips. They're coming with raw mail sometime today, so there's a small possibility that I'll just unload this, agree a layout with my mum, put a few chocks in just to make sure it's all supported. Maybe have a bit of a tidy. It's probably not worth tidying up, but basically, I ain't got my jigsaw. Didn't pick up my jigsaw. What an idiot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I can save that for tomorrow. Yeah, I need my van tomorrow. See, I've one small thing I forgot. Anyway, it all just seemed a bit stressful this morning, because I was also supposed to start another job this morning. I had someone starting a job for me, basically chopping out and doing some bits and bobs for this lady that I've worked for years. But I just, again, it's not really the sort of work I want to do, but I'm happy to organise it and get someone else on it. But she's changed her mind about something, so it's just like easier just to, so I'm going to postpone that now and put that back, which is going to be frustrating, because all of a sudden it's going to happen when I'm not really that free and flexible to get on top of it. But these things happen. I just would have been ideal to get most of that out of the way this week. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. I'm walking on the decking, and it's not screwed down. Basically, I've just been chatting to my mum most of the day, and I have done bits. I've put all the chocks in and stuff and tidied it around there. Cut all the fabric. I mean, I've done nothing really, but and done my layout as well. Things that do take a little bit of time, but yeah, I'm waiting for these clips. I've got a few left over from another job, but so yeah, I'm going to put the noggins in now. But this is what I was talking about for the strong backs. So now I've done the layout, which I'll go through in a minute. I've worked out where my decking boards are going to finish and start for the best sort of approach to go around these bushes. So I've got as many full boards as you can and try and finish with a full board over there. I now know where my decking's going to finish, which is, I think, this line. I can't remember now, but basically I then know where I can put a noggin, and I just leave this in until that instance, and then I'll square like I've marked now. So what I'll do is I'll slide that decking out of the way, and I'll come onto the decking. I'll do this with joists as well, and I'll just run the skill saw down those lines, and then each, as long as I cut on the right side of the line, which I will, each one of those is my noggin. And you do waste this obviously, but over that, that's going to end up to wasting one noggin. It just means that while you're building it, it stays strong as it is. And yeah, it's actually the quickest way to measure amount of noggins as well, much quicker than any other way I've ever tried. Yeah, and then to work out where my where the decking boards go, what you don't want to be doing is measuring one board and one spacer and timesing that by however many boards you got, because you'll have an accumulative error. I've gone through this before, but basically you need to do a dry run. You need to lay out the more the better, but not like too big a number that it's hard to break up into the area. So this, for argument's sake, is about 5 meters. So what I've done is I've just broken that up into like a fifth, or near a quarter actually. So I'd laid out 8 boards, that finishes at 1215. 8 boards, 8 gaps is 1215. So then what you do is you divide that by 8, and that gives you the number. So the actual number of a board in a space is 151.875. So it's a crazy measurement, but then I can just multiply that, and that's by however many boards I want to go in each direction. So I measure all that out to there, and that would say 4 meters. I divide 4 meters by 151.875, work to the nearest whole number. That's how you do it. If you do it any other way, you'll get near, but this way, even this way, you won't get it exact. You'll finish up and you'll be 3 or 4 mil out, but it won't matter. But if you do it the other way, like I could have measured that a board in the space is 151 millimeters and not accounted for the 0.875, and you can't physically measure 0.875 every time you do something, plus the thickness of the pencil line. That's where you get your accumulative errors. So really, you've got to do it basically an average approach. I guess in maths it would be called an average or whatever. It's like you're talking to Britain's fastest growing woodwork channel, doesn't it, really? I mean, 94 subscribers, just checked. Just sat down for a minute, had a bite to eat and checked. 94 subscribers. I'm going to hit the 100. Do I get a plaque for hitting 100 subscribers? These look nice, these cuts, don't they? How do you do that, Matt? Just done it with a skill saw. Did I get a mitre saw and stand up? No, skill saw and a speed square. £2 speed square as well. I'll just buy a few of these and you end up putting pencil marks on them for gauges and stuff. They're well handy. Set your angles. Did the stairs with it. What we've got to do is work on the principle of level and plumb. And that everything either adds up to round the corner 90, all the way around the job 360. You know? So you divide it up. So I knew when I was going around that corner, I knew that because that's 90 and I'm doing 4 cuts, if I divided 90 by 4, it'd be 22.5, so I cut everyone at 22.5 and just made sure that was the, made sure I marked my striking points. And if you get that exactly right, you then know that that one's going to be 45, where it runs into the 90. Same principle around here. You know, I didn't even try and work that angle out. I know that's running on one axis, that's running on another axis, so therefore they're at 90 degrees to each other. So whatever, I just cut, that was just a leftover board, just cut in at any measurement, and I put some random angles on the end and whatever, and I wrote the angles down. You can see there's a number on there. Write the angles down, so say that was 20 and that was 30, I'm at 50. Then all I've got to do is get 40. So then I'll just know that my other two are 20s to get you back to your 90. Yeah, educating the nation. Right, good morning. It's Friday morning. Yeah, I'm going to give it a go filming, I think. The only problem is, I actually think it's raining now, as I've said that. Why do I even, yeah, I think it's spitting. It's going to rain all day. We've got thunderstorms due as well in the afternoon. Basically, I'm just going to crack on with it. Fuck it. I'm just going to get it done, even if I have to work in the rain. Yeah, should be doable. And then when it hammers it down, I can always go out and get some stones, top up some of my mum's beds. And some bits and bobs. So, yeah. I toyed around yesterday so much with just thinking, do I just start cutting all the little cuts to where, you know, around stuff? But really, it's dangerous. Like I said the other day, you want to do all the big bits first, then you know what you're left with, rather than cutting a load of decking up and then realising I've got to put joins somewhere. But I possibly could have worked it out. I don't know. I thought about it. But right. What a crap day it's going to be. I was supposed to go do another job this afternoon, but I'm going to have to cancel that because I thought this was going to be an easy week, which it would have been. Yeah, I just know as soon as I get out of the van it's going to rain, don't I? But we'll give it a go. I'll start filming. I guess I'll do something, yeah. Time lapse is absolutely destroying the battery on my phone, so I don't know what to do about it really, because I don't really want to be picking the phone up, although I can take my time here. I can take my time on any job, I guess. But the idea is for this to not take too much of my work up, you know. But anyway, yeah, just thought I'd show you where we're up to. So it died just as I was doing this bit here, unfortunately. You might have noticed that I started in the middle yesterday, whether it was this morning. I put 2 boards because I had a few clips left over, so I started in the middle. And the reason for that is I've done my working out to make sure I thought I was going to land where I was going to land, to miss joist and land to the edge of the planter with full boards. Yeah, and basically the reason I start in the middle is because it halves your possibility for error. It's something that some lads taught me years ago. Whenever you're skinning anything, so if it's plasterboard, ply, decking, although you're joisting, you always, when you measure a mark or you stud, you'll always start from one end. You're skinning, you really always want to start in the middle, because if you start here and you start going along and you run 3 or 4 mil out on each one, you've sort of halved the error. Because if you just started there and run 3 or 4 mil out, not on each one, sorry, for so many, if you just started over there, that would be, you know, sort of 6 to 8 mil at the end, or whatever the tolerance is. If you start in the middle, it's only going to be 3 or 4 mil either end. So although the error's the same, you've halved the drama of the error, I guess. Anyway, case in point being, just thought I'd show you this, because this is the first time I've genuinely measured this, getting near it. I measured it at the start, but I basically I really wanted to finish 25 mil over there, because the decking's 25 mil thick, and then that means that I can return this cheek upwards with a piece of decking, and it will be the same thickness. So that would mean that I need to get to 455, 1 board, 2 board, 3 board, plus your gap, 455. So if I hold my tape measure at 455 there, and then have a little look, and you can see I'm at about 22, 23, which is good. However much you know about this sort of thing, starting a decking board there and finishing 2 mil out over here, or 3 mil out over here, is very good. Now, if I'd have started over there, that would be, that would be 6 mil out, which again I could possibly get over, but why, you know? So you're just halving your error, really. It's a very frustrating system to put down, because the gaps just look wrong, but they're not, because they're set to the spacers, and it is time consuming, because you can hear it rattling. You can't tighten the clips, because if you tighten the clip you won't get the board in, so you have to leave them loose, and I'll have to go along at the end and tighten them all. I'm actually going to have to grind a bit off the end of the screwdriver bit to get it in there. I really feel like they should send you I haven't said that, I haven't checked. If they have sent, no they haven't, they really should send a bit. You know, but anyway, what I'll try and do now is I'll whack it back on. See, I've cut these to him. I'll try and do a little video of how I do that. That might pay, rather than not pay. I'm not making any money from this, I'm losing money, but that might actually work, because I can put my phone on charge now, do one, think about what I'm going to say to the camera, which is unusual for me. Basically, what you need to do is run this until it touches, keeping the gap, and then you have to always use a ruler, not a tape measure, because the tape measure will bend and fold, and it's got that nasty little end on as well. It'll just get in the way when you're measuring off. So you want to use your ruler, and you also want to really mark the wall, the gap, which is 6 mil away, so there. And you want to measure off that, and we've got 210 mil. No, 212. So now we know that 212 along here is that point where it strikes there. So what we've got to do now is, we possibly with this one could just cut a straight line, slide it in, and then scribe it in. But it's quite hard to scribe on these bricks, because you'll go in and out. And we only really want to take an average of the curve. I don't want to scribe into every brick, because it won't actually look that good. Right, so what I like to do is take a couple of reference points where we know the end of the board is there. So we start with the end of the board, And I might divide that space up evenly, so we've got 2, 1, 2. So what would that be? Sort of 70 would be a good one, and it's a 70 and 140. It's only very crude, but basically then you want to measure along that mark, tight to the wall, take off your 6mm, that leaves 40. So we do 70, 140. So along that point there, we know we're going to get rid of some of this, so I'll just go like that. Like that. I want to measure 40. You can see this is very rough for now, hence me using a marker. It just means I can see it, especially on this grey board. Right, and then 93 on that point there. So these are my 2 marks here. 1, 2 and 3 actually, sorry, 2 marks there and 1 at the end. Now, in the van, it's always a good idea to have a piece of plastic, or when I'm fitting furniture, I've always got to take some. I've got these like UPVC trims that are all different lengths, and I'll use them for doing curves and whatnot. I haven't got those with me today. Don't be fooled into thinking you can just use a thin piece of wood or so. It has to be engineered really for the consistency of the curve. So something like metal works, and you've always got a handsaw. You should always have a handsaw knocking about. So you just have to be a little bit creative with how you hold it. So in this case I'll use my foot as the stopper on there, and I'll flex it until you need to put your foot as near to the point as well. You can't start flexing it over here because it will change the angle. So something like this. And you should see that that will line up with those pencil marks. It's not a million miles out. It takes a little doing. And then same thing, your pinch point, don't pinch it over here. Start the bend as near as you can. That's why plastic's better. This handsaw is a bad example really. Mark that. That should be your curve. If it looks a bit bad, I'll just mark it, and I'll just either sand it out or jigsaw it out. Right, let's get that cut. Okay, so now we're not expecting this to be perfect. It would be nice, but it never is. It's like when you first time you shoot the door in, you're always going to have to take it back to your bench and do a bit more on it. You just have to, the quicker you learn to accept that, the better your work will be. And you can see I've left the pen mark on there, so you can see that is still with the original cut. There's no bullshit here. Not on this channel. Right. Now, I don't know what the camera's picking up there, but for me it looks good, with the exception of the more I tighten that up, I've just not really gone right to the pencil mark there, or the pen mark, but the more I tighten that up, the more I can see this looks good, but just over here it starts to get a bit tight, which is stopping me going in. I can actually see my pen mark there. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, so I've actually missed where I've started with the jigsaw. It's very hard to cut this product actually, because when you start cutting across at the angle, you're cutting a bigger piece. You see how that first bit's quite a thick piece, and it just kills with your blades. Anything composite or aluminium, the key is really, it's not about having necessarily a fine blade, it's about having a slow blade, because the heat is the issue really. It's just cut nice and slow. So I've turned the speed down to 2 or 3 on the jigsaw. Right, so I'll just rescribe that now, just a tiny bit. Like I say, if I went like that now, it would go in and out of all these bricks. It would hit this proud brick, and you'd get it wouldn't look any better. That actually looks, I'm actually tempted to screw it. I'm not going to though. Right, it's going to do that little bit there. It actually is just the pencil marks. There you go, it works, because it is actually just my 2 pen marks. Look. Try and get this out in the camera. Don't know if I can. Let's try it. Let's take this out. This is going well, isn't it? I remember to do this again. Yeah, look. It's that, which is my original mark, and that. They're the 2 things holding it off. So it turns out the technique's fucking right, Matt. You know what I mean? No bullshit here. All tips, all top tips. Can't make that short, can I? Because I waffle. I've got the camera the wrong way. Do it like that. Doesn't work. Doesn't work like that. Done like that. I'm not sure how you edit that out. Anyway, I'm gonna have to put my phone on charge. It rained a lot, but I got it done. I got soaked, but I got it done. There's the old little mum steps. See, I've done these planters as well. I've got to get some more white stone. I haven't got enough. I'll show you it. Oh, and I've got down there, I'm going to cut that out with the petrol cutter. But I haven't got a petrol cutter with me, so I'll bring that one day next week, or evening next week. I'll come over. Neighbours will fucking love that. Petrol cut that out, put some gravel in there. But yeah. What did he say? I'm at 99 subscribers as well. As I record this now, by the time this goes out, I'll be on triple figures. You know what I mean? So yeah, it looks nice enough. And if I don't like is I've had to toss some screws in here because they said just glue them, just silicone them, but they ain't got a fucking clue what they're talking about at Eurosale. There's no way that was silicone, and you wouldn't be able to get it straight. The trims are all bent. Yeah, squabbing looks good, doesn't it? All the way around. These can get changed at some point, and then I'm gonna run another board in now. I've got the joist in there ready, and there'll be a low profile sill majig job thing, whatever it's called. I don't know. Right. Britain's fastest growing woodwork channel. Yeah, like and subscribe. It's not really much of a joinery job, is it? But yeah, this is it. You see, I'm rushing around like an idiot, and you almost want to enjoy it, don't you? But thanks for everyone watching, subscribing, doing whatever you're doing. Really appreciate it. Really warms my heart. Actually, it's lovely. Yeah, I'll see you next week.